Hi, everybody. How you doing? It's Monday. Boy, the days just roll by when you're in bed. Now, everyone's saying, are you doing the show from in bed again? And I think that's why Brittany's watching. I think that she's fascinated with the possibilities. No, that would be Roxanne's doll.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah, you get a couple of female listeners. The next thing you know, you're doing your show Hugh Hefner style, and next the silk pajamas will come out. It's just really humiliating, and I don't want to go there. I really don't.
And the lavender smoking jacket.
Yeah, lavender smoking jacket.
How about them bed sheets?
Yeah, my God. So, and I'm setting myself up here, and so I can sit up nice and straight and say, and I got my white headset, because Brian said this is how they do it in Idaho. So welcome to Moohead Radio. I'm your host, a big and furry bovine. Notice I didn't get a laugh from Brian. Anything that is the Bruce Arians Nation. That's what I want to start referring to the coaching search as. Is the people who want Arians will be the Arians Nation. So yeah, they wear Doc Martens and they.
Oh no, they're being the people in Idaho are being replaced by Muslims, sponsored by the Chobani guy.
Are you in Idaho, Brian? Is that where you're at?
No, I'm in Arizona.
No, he's in Arizona. Which you can ask Charles Barkley about what the people are like in Arizona. At any rate, hey, sorry, it just came to mind. We've had 24 hours to reflect on the Cleveland Browns, and no, I'm not injured. As a matter of fact, I did want to tell my viewing audience, all 10 of them right now, and football season's over, and boy, from here it goes. Right. Yeah, and then it will pick up again as soon as the NFL draft, and then NFL preseason in August, and then, and maybe if TMZ releases the Baker Mayfield dick pics that he accidental, that kind of thing. Well, we got occasional pickup at audience, but, from now, it's the Cleveland Cavaliers, the Cleveland Indians, and dreaming of the Browns in 2019. Actually, I had a really virtually euphoric moment this morning when I woke up, and usually it happens in my sleep. Wait a minute, I got something in my eye.
What was that?
What happened was I got out of bed and I grabbed for the walker, and it's like I didn't feel my knee. It was like, that's weird. And so I took a couple of steps and was like, I felt kind of normal. And it's like, what in the hell's going on here? So I walked into the bathroom. I'm walking around, and hi ho, it's after we go. And I'm just like, holy shit! It's like I have a knee again. And so I went out and I rode my recumbent trike for about 15, 20 minutes. It was a little sore when I came back, and I iced it down. And then I said to Mrs. Moohead, I said, hey, can I drive you down to the tennis court? She looked at me like I was crazy. I said, no, I want to try to drive. And I drove today for the first time in God knows how long since the surgery, and made it back and forth, and went out in the tennis courts and just kind of were watching some people play. And it kind of puffed up and swelled up a little from standing around. I was out there for about 20 minutes watching, not sitting down, which was not a smart thing to do. And so I came back and iced again. But, what a great moment of just realizing that this thing will eventually feel normal. It's just, it's just time. So I'm making sure in order to feel normal more often that I'm doing the show like this, because there's no reason to fold my leg under me by sitting in a regular chair and ending up suffering because of it. It's bad enough.
What happened to the sock?
The sock?
Yeah.
Wait a minute. I know you like this. I know you really, Well, hello there, Derek. How you doing? Hi there,
Mr. Sacco.
Yeah, Sacco. All right. I keep my sock with me at all times. It is just, Merry Christmas, or better yet, here's something. Wait a minute. You ready for this?
I'm scared.
I don't know if you're gonna. I don't know if I should do this with Brittany, but I do impersonations with inanimate objects. Okay, and this would be this one. It would be. This is interviewing Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. Well, Mr. Jabbar. Brittany is shaking her head, saying, "This is wrong. Why am I doing?" I said.
Don't report us, Brittany.
I think she's leaving now. I'm sorry. Oh, but comfy. You know, I'm just kidding. For goodness' sake.
And in case you're wondering, folks, we're not using a script.
No,
we're not.
This would be all literally off the top of my head. At any rate, yeah. So, hello to the people in the chat room. Daktar, how you doing? Even though I never know what you're talking about. Here's Nick Eschenbrenner, the Bionic Man. Hi, Nick. How you doing? Thanks for joining me. Pat Segerson. Is she employed by TMZ? No, she's not. No, she's an independent. Brittany is a wonderful person who's actually adding to my limit. But
he's talking about Mary Kay Cabbage for brains.
Oh, yeah. Mary Kay Cabbage Head? No, I don't know. I don't read that.
I was going to type, I don't think so, but she should definitely be sent to the DMZ.
Did you see where John Dorsey stopped her talking today? It was so funny in his press conference.
Oh, did he really? I didn't see it. I've been doing nothing today, but
he said, no, hold on.
And took somebody else's question because she started interrupting another guy that was asking his question.
I mean, Mary J. K. Cabbage Head being assertive and aggressive as a reporter, that would be, you know what I walk.
Hear the rain in the background here because it is pouring.
No, it was a beautiful day today, 82 degrees. You know what I walk away from in this football game yesterday is thinking a few things. The first thing is just this overwhelming feeling of, just like I did with the knee this morning, it was like caring about the Browns again. You know, it's like, you know how long it's been since I do this for 15 years, but I mean, honestly, it became more shtick than it did show. You know, and the more the Browns kind of were like, you know, it was kind of like Geppetto creating Pinocchio and Pinocchio becoming a boy, you know, watching the team blossom and become a real football team. It was like, wow. It's like, I never saw that coming. And suddenly I started caring and doing shows that had more substance to them. And, you know,
not just making fun of them.
And not doing Sacco impressions either. You know, although I will continue to do that because I have no other reason really for doing this show because there's no compensation. The thing I walk away with is it's just so good to feel like you're looking forward to Sunday again and having a quarterback that you know is in it to win it. And, you know, all you had to do, like I said in the show yesterday, is watch Deshaun Kaiser get blown out 34-0 and see how bad he really is. And to realize that it wasn't that I was just being negative because I was tired of the Browns losing. I mean, he really is that bad. I mean, he really is that terrible. And to have a quarterback who's, you know, and I'm looking around the league and I watched some of the Bills game. I watched, you know, Darnold getting his brain scrambled by the Patriots. And I'm saying, you know, we got the right guy. And if we keep him healthy, and the best defense couldn't sack him, for God's sakes. I mean, what we have going here is a really good thing. And that's the first thing.
We had 209 more passing yards than they did. That's crazy.
And they had 246 more rushing yards than
I was just about to ask that. What was the rushing yards?
Broke even there.
Yeah. You know, and Pat Segerson
they had 17 more minutes.
Yeah, Pat Segerson, I'm just reading his comment. I feel sorry for Kaiser. He came out way too early. You know, at Notre Dame, there's never a good time to come out, you know, because the Catholics don't believe in that, Pat. And, you know, coming out is...
they definitely prefer to bury it with their priest.
They changed the statue after the semifinal game to no touchdown Jesus. So much for Notre Dame. That's all I'm whooping.
Well, then you definitely don't want to see "Feel You Up, Joseph."
No. So, yeah. So the other thing I walk away from in all of this, besides the presiding joy that we have a real football team, is that somehow they managed to get calls wrong again. And it's infuriating to be the victim of bad calls week after week. And would it have changed the game if it were 2014 going into the half? It may have. We'll never know. But, you know, the fact is that we still had our hands on the ball with a chance to win that football game.
Yeah.
So I'm not going to sit and complain about it. But it really tells me that the NFL needs to do something, and they need to redefine how replay works, and that a play is a play.
I guess they assumed that they scored the touchdown, so they went ahead and initialed it touchdown, and it looked from from a fast speed thing like that he got it. So I can understand the human element, like why they signaled touchdown. But I'm saying if he fumbled the ball, in case they're like, oops, boo-boo, why don't we just let him return it and then go look at the
And that's what I'm saying. A play is a play. And if something needs to be overturned, you call the play. I mean, nobody can tell me that in real time, with the speed of the game, the size of the athletes, and a guy standing on the far sideline, that he's going to know for sure whether that ball crossed the plane or not. That's why they have cameras located right there in that position so that the replay gets it right. So let's use the replay, and, you know, let's make sure that when we do the replay, that it takes the whole play into account, not just a little piece of it. You blow a play dead and it's not a play anymore. It's just a partial incident. Yeah. And that's wrong.
That was our only turnover too.
Yeah.
And that was key for us.
Yeah. And Brittany's saying I have a live thing I'm doing later, so I'm saving my voice for that. Okay. Okay. I don't know what live thing she's doing, but is it karaoke? Or is it a YouTube thing? I don't know. That's yeah. Give us tell us where it's located at. If it's a YouTube thing, Brittany, feel free to promote it in the chat room. I got no problem with that.
By the way, I'm going to start my own YouTube channel here soon. So,
Mr. Moohead, are you all for putting a chip in the ball? I know I'm not mentioning this in the summer briefly, but do you think in a case like this where they initialed it dead to see if the ball broke the plane, do you think they should have considered inserting chip in the ball?
No, because again, technology fails, just like we found out with this headset that isn't working properly and it's not connecting on a regular basis. It's the technology fails. What doesn't fail is the views that they have, multiple views to look at something after a play. And that's why we don't blow things dead. That's why I'm sick of the early whistle excuse in professional football. Yeah. You know, if a referee is a premature ejaculator and insists on blowing the whistle too goddamn soon, he shouldn't be an official in the NFL.
I know they will. Go ahead.
I was just going to say a lot of things you can look at, you know, especially on the replay, are common sense things. You see that a lot with the catch rule. You can look at that and say, well, yeah, it's a catch, but no, you know, he's got to do this, he's got to do that. It's a catch. Just call it what it is.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, I mean, here's the thing with the catch that that Jarvis Landry made with his left hand. I don't know what it is. To be very honest with you, nobody could see until they really got the right angle, and it doesn't really.
Well, I was
in the end.
About Njoku's touchdown catch. That's what I was talking about.
Yeah, I know. But what I'm saying is replay is replay. If you call it one way on the field and you're wrong, you're human. If you call that it was a touchdown, you know, and it turns out not to be a touchdown, and you whistle a play dead, that's different. If you let the play go, let it play out, we return the ball 99 yards for a touchdown, and Baltimore fans are just waiting to see that he had it over the goal line. But then to find out that he hot dogged it and pulled it back and loses the ball, and that you just gave up 7 instead of getting 7, and you have a 14-point swing in that moment.
Do you think that was a rookie mistake by Lamar to pull it back so quick?
I think he was cocky. I think he's going to get his lunch handed to him one of these weeks, catching, shotgun snaps with his right hand only and not getting his hands around the ball. It's, I don't think that's a smart way for a young player to be doing this. And I'm thrilled that the young man has confidence, but that kind of confidence can get you in trouble. And, he went up early and he wanted to pull it back. And the fact is, the last thing you would want to do in a situation like that is pull the ball backwards, especially in such an important game, because the second it breaks the plane, you're going to wind up.
Touchdown.
It's a touchdown. So why would you want to pull the ball back, except to show the world how high you got and be able to palm the ball like you're catching the ball on the snap with one hand? I don't think that it's a smart thing to do. The league has a way of humbling young players, and I speak for Baker Mayfield too. Mm-hmm. The league has a way of proving that one season is not necessarily another. You can ask Nick Foles about that, and he's got a chance to re-demonstrate his magic from a year ago, which he'll never be able to accomplish this playoff because it was a place in time.
No.
The game is humbling, and that's just, guys who were like Michael Vick get carted away for dog killing, and then they never come back. Not really. And guys like RG3 who are a flash, and they're just like Lamar Jackson, and they get their leg, ripped apart, and the league humbles people. Yeah. And, this is the nature of the game. And I'm not just talking about Lamar Jackson. I'm talking about Baker Mayfield. The fact is that all of this arrogance, the league will bring him down to size. And I really believe that losing this football game is the best thing for Baker, because what I would say to Baker Mayfield is, I love you. You brought some great things to Cleveland, but you could have won that game and you didn't.
Yeah. He was 3 TDs to 3 picks in that game too. So if you, take a second chance and look at some of those throws, who knows, you may have reduced that turnover, but
yeah, I mean,
we'll see.
Well, I mean, but it's important that we don't let people buy into their own fantasies. And the fact is, Baker Mayfield can't win every game, and his gunslinger, arrogant attitude has to be dampened by reality every now and then. And I think it's a good time. I would rather have it happen in the difference between a 7-8-1 and 8-7 one year where there was no playoffs on the line than to have it happen in a playoff game where he just, doesn't learn that lesson and has to learn it in a more painful way. I'm looking at, stories, and of course, that Freddie Kitchens is going to get a head coaching interview with the Browns, but so is my next door neighbor. Let's not get too carried away, because the
next door neighbor is Dirk Cutter.
Yeah, no, I'm saying the laundry list was pretty long that Dorsey's talking as far as the number of names.
I do like that he's keeping that secretive though, because he's not trying to, like with the Mike McCarthy thing. They asked him about Mike McCarthy in the press conference. I don't remember exactly what he said, but I know he was basically, with all due respect, we know who we want, and we're not gonna, substitute that for anybody. It's gonna be our decision, not your decision. Love that.
So, the other thing that I can tell you from this whole Kitchens thing, Dorsey complimenting him about that his offense has moved the ball. He's gotten the ball out of Baker's hands quicker. He's put some flair and different route combinations together to help out the quarterback. He's just moved the bar on the offensive side of the ball. But I mean, this is all, we want to keep you as an offensive coordinator, and we respect you. And so we're going to give you a head coaching interview. And the reason we're doing that is to put you in the mix down the road in your career. This is the way we take care of our people, which it's about time that the Browns start taking care of good people in a good way. And I guess now Brian Flores' name per report has come up. The Patriots offensive coordinator has been connected to a head coaching job. And so his name has come up. The
Dorsey
names
did deny some rumors though.
Well, I mean, what do you know? Talk to me, because I haven't really been sitting here and reading that much.
All I seen, because I just listened to the press conference right before I came on the show, trying to prepare somewhat. But no, Dorsey said they asked him about, I forget which rumor, which connection it was, but he did say he didn't hear about that, and basically said it's our decision's going to stay in house on what we want to do. So that's what I got out of that.
Yeah, I mean, and of course we're hearing Williams is out according to reports, and you know, and then we have Adam Gase out in Miami, and I don't have any interest in that. But I mean, to be honest with you, Adam Gase has to put up with Tannehill, and you know,
the owner, they have to put up with Marino and all the owners up there. You know.
Yeah, you know, I guess for me, any coach with a bad quarterback is going to lose. And I always talk about my friend and a person who I've been blessed to have had many conversations with, Sam Rutigliano. One year you're the coach of the year, and the next you've got Paul McDonald as your quarterback, and you're fired. You know, you can go from being a genius to being a bum based upon, you know, that position on the field. I don't think
that's Mike McCarthy.
That's Mike McCarthy. And, you know, the fact is, though, that, you know, like I said, I don't think the Green Bay Packers are a better football team without Mike McCarthy. They didn't prove it in any way since his early abrupt termination. And it again is, you know, that's a position where you're hired to be fired. And a big part of it is if your number one gun, if Aaron Rodgers goes down, or if your number one gun, you know, Carson Wentz goes down, you know, if you're the Kansas City Chiefs and Patrick Mahomes goes down, you know, people are going to look differently on the head coach when the record changes based on who's running the show on the field. So we see this over and over again. A lot of these coaches get fired, and they're geniuses in one instant. They're Super Bowl winners in one instant, and then, you know, and then they're just mere mortals in the aftermath of these things. You know, here's what Greg Williams said about the end of the football game, about the potential 57-yard game-winning field goal. We put it in Baker's hands. That was my choice. That's who I wanted to see with the last opportunity. And then this part of the quote was not put on Cleveland.com. I will read the quote exactly as it was said. That was my choice. We put it in Baker's hands. That's who I wanted to see with the last opportunity. I put it on Baker. I sure as fuck didn't want to see it in the hands of a drunken place kicker named Greg Joseph, who only made 69% of his cocksucking field goals in college.
Yeah.
That sounds about right.
Yeah. Just reading between the lines, folks. And, you know, they're going to be, and again, the reason that I was trumpeting.
That quote happened to be in Hebrew. Do we need to read right to left on that one?
No. It's Aramaic.
That's a Moohead exclusive report right there.
Sanskrit.
Sanskrit, yeah.
Morse code.
You have to read between the lines with these things. You know, I was trumpeting the removal of Greg Williams, and a lot of people I've been taking a lot of flack about it, but what we know is what we know, folks. And Dorsey didn't want him to begin with. Dorsey did what was best to keep this team together, and it was the right decision to get rid of the two people who were causing the disruption. Greg Williams wasn't one of them. He's also not qualified to be a head coach.
Nope.
So there you have it.
The cancer, so.
And, you know, so yeah, we added by subtraction, and we put a guy in there who had technically done the job in Buffalo, and that's all well and good. I'm all for it.
Steven, what are you eating?
Yeah, I'm eating barbecue nuggets.
You gonna share or what?
Well, I'm. This is why I'm glad
how good it is.
I'm looking at stories and not looking at Steven.
Hey, Mr. Moohead, if they do hire Mike McCarthy, would you be very upset?
would I be
Yes.
very upset. I mean,
One of your big rants.
no. Here's what my feeling is, that whatever when I saw Jarvis Landry wide open a second time to start out the second half against the best defense of the league, and I've been watching that team for the last 6 weeks play, and nobody's getting open like that in their secondary, and our guys are. I'm saying to myself, the offense right now doesn't appear to need what would I call it, conceptual help. I would say that
you got to take what they give you.
I think that the offense needs maybe a little bit more talent at the wide receiver position. I think that Baker's going to find people, but I think men are getting open downfield. I mean, we were saying our receivers were too slow, but these guys are getting open. And what I would say is, in a perfect world, a Rashard Higgins, which was a nice story, who's played well with Baker. He's a possession receiver. He's a bottom of the roster receiver. And we need to replace people who are like that with people who are a little bit more prolific. I think the reason, when all shakes out, and I'm going to say things again that are going to aggravate people, is that the Rashard Higgins of the world who catch the ball, and they may not be all that flashy, are going to end up beating out the Brashad Perrymans who don't catch the ball consistently. And what we're going to get is a more of a speedy guy like Brashad Perriman who catches the ball consistently. And we need to have a drug-free Josh Gordon kind of receiver to make this stretch offense all the more potent and to make Chubb a more valuable guy. But conceptually, the offense is working with this quarterback. So Mike McCarthy is a hire. What does he really bring to the table? And the answer is, all this quarterback whisperer bullshit. We've already got the quarterback, and he don't need to be whispered to because he's dictating. I don't see that there's a heavy need for McCarthy. What I think we need is a younger head coach and somebody that this team can grow with, and somebody who can bring in a defensive coordinator where we really need help, and to retain Kitchens and let Kitchens go over the playbook and really, again, further refine what works with the group of players that we have, and then teach that system to the improved roster that we get after the draft and through free agency.
And keep the receivers coach.
Yeah, I mean, the thing that's funny is, for the first time all year, our return games and punts and kickoffs actually look like they were at least in Mediocreville, and that wasn't the case the entire season. And, Amos is going to be gone, but that has to improve as well. But
amazing what happens when you don't have to have fucking Peppers back there for both.
Yes.
Well, and not only that, I mean, look, we're not going to function with Callaway being a frontline receiver either. I mean, there are some players who
give him time. I mean, he's a rookie. Just let him get.
That's right. That's right.
I'm sorry.
No, you're right. You're right about that. But to rely on him for a large percentage of snaps, when you have a quarterback who can throw the ball with the accuracy that Baker Mayfield can, every guy with speed who has verticality in his game, either going up for the ball or down the field, any guy who runs a 4.2, 5, 4.3 is a potential weapon because Baker can get the ball into his hands. But you need to have route runners and people who regularly get open, instead of people who can occasionally make a big play. The guys who occasionally make a big play should play occasionally. and you should have.
But who are the other options to replace those guys, such as a Rashad Higgins, Rashad Perriman?
Well, no, I think Rashard Higgins is more valuable right now than what you have in Callaway is a young developing guy,
and Baker trusts him. Baker trusts Higgins.
Yeah.
That's right. Brashad Perriman is a guy that once he starts dropping passes again, as his history would say that he does, people are going to start shaking their heads and say, well, what happened here? Just like we were talking about Njoku earlier in the season, just not being consistent catching the football. You know, if you want to take the next leap from being a 500 team to being a playoff team, you can't drop this many passes. And the people who will end up getting the job are the people who combine the speed, the size, and the hands. And you'd be amazed at how many great receivers. Yeah, but you know something? There have been a lot of great wide receivers that have come out in the second and third round of the NFL draft. That skill position
was like a 6, right?
Yeah, I mean, look, if you're looking at a guy like Amari Cooper, who is the highest drafted wide receiver, I mean, do you really think he was worth it when Sammy Watkins was one of the top first round picks in the draft? Do you think that Sammy Watkins has lived up to that? The fact is that, I mean, Saquon Barkley is a wonderful, Saquon Barkley is a wonderful player. But, you know, if you can go into the second round and grab Chubb, do you really think that you want to blow the number 2, number 3, number 1 pick on Saquon Barkley? This is the way it is with wide receivers. And you can find people who go to smaller schools who have NFL talent.
It's talent evaluation. That's huge part of finding receivers.
And I put it in Dorsey's hands. He's a smart fella and he knows the game. But, you know, I think of all the players, like, what was the name of the kid who went to Mount Union, who it ended up in the playing an important role? Somebody in the chat room will know this because a local
Rudy
alliance.
Rudiger. I'm just kidding.
Rudy Rudiger. Yeah. Yeah, I don't remember the name of the kid. Isn't that terrible? He was a short little guy, but he was fast, and he went to a good team, and he became a guy who was a solid player.
Joe Montana said that Rudy Rudiger was lying that whole time. Do you think he was lying about that movie? That event never took place?
What event?
The movie Rudy.
What about
Joe Montana said that it wasn't true. That
there's nothing true about it at all. Rudy Rudiger was a guy who technically was a walk-on, but the bottom line is
they didn't carry him off the field. He didn't do all that crap that they said.
No, that's all bullshit. And Rudy Rudiger just ended up selling life insurance and failing in life and becoming a motivational speaker. And it's a classic Hollywood example of making a little story way bigger than what it was. You know,
just like there's no dead people in Iowa that you can go play baseball with.
Yeah, I mean, the sky is the limit in the chat room saying, how do we let running backs pound it up our ass? And, you know,
I saw that.
We need to add interior linemen, I think.
Thank you, Bronk. Pierre Garcon. Thank you. And he's had a long NFL career, and he went to Mount Union. You'd be amazed at the guys who go lower down in the draft, who you can get value from the wide receiver position. I'm not worried about that because we have a quarterback who I know throws a catchable ball. The answer to your question, the sky is the limit, is you don't play a highly leveraged, high-risk defense like we're doing. You know, Greg Williams has a history of being a Buddy Ryan disciple. And when you get the Bear 46 defense, a lot of young people don't remember the Bear 46 defense, Mike Singletary in the middle.
I do.
But if you were there for the Super Bowl shuffle and you're our age, you remember that. That is, and hello to Beyonce's Mega Man. Thank you for subscribing. I appreciate that. Every new subscriber, every new subscriber to the program, I like to point out when I see them in the chat room. But you have to have sound principles. You have to have good, solid players who are schooled in a sound principle defense. And the reason there are all of these holes for running backs, we made the Ravens running backs look like they were, ready for the Hall of Fame. When you overcommit and you're just literally jumping and guessing at things, it's never going to work. you have to have integrity, gap integrity.
Well, and that's why I was going to say I feel like Browns fans are trying to quickly make decisions on what we should do, what we shouldn't do. I think, and in my opinion, I think we need to just let Dorsey do his thing. He has talent evaluation like people never have had. You look at the guys he's just drafted, the diamonds in the rough, even on this team. So if you let him fill holes, make moves, do what he needs to do, no matter what head coach he hires, give him a chance. Dorsey sees something in him that we don't. So go ahead.
Yeah. Now, Mark Harris is saying Gaker Gayfield making a homosexual slander. Mark, look, you obviously don't like Baker, but, it's usually those who are on the DL themselves. And I don't mean the disabled list, Mark. It's those guys who are the ones who call people out for beings in order to point the finger at somebody else. If you're uncomfortable about your sexuality, Mark, it's all good. We're kind.
Did Colin Cowherd send you?
So, yeah, I mean we're kind, loving. This is like a kind and loving church. We accept all kinds in here, so it's okay, Mark. If you feel that way, if you find yourself getting wood staring at one of the members of our panel, and it's not Brittany, it's all good. We're
too bad I got my camera off.
Yeah. But again, I'm not going to.
We're not going to promote pedophilia, Derek.
Yeah.
No matter how much you want to take it on the ass, we're not going to promote pedophilia.
No, I ain't care.
But I think the way that you stop the running game is with gap integrity, and the other thing is you cannot have
and find a linebacker for the love of God.
Well, not only that, but the interior defense, you can't have people trying to make hero plays. Probably the most unsung thing that I can think of in professional sports is being an interior defensive lineman in the NFL, because if you're like a nose tackle and your job is to take on two guys and you never get through, but you eat up two guys so somebody else can make a play, it's selfless. That's the nature of the job.
Hey, Mr. Mouet, I had a question. The quarterback from Oregon, what's his name?
Justin Herbert.
He decided he was going to play his senior year and forego the NFL, which most players, because he was supposed to be a high top pick. This is supposed to be like the first quarterback out of the draft.
He was projected possible #1 pick.
Okay, but do you think maybe he looked at how Josh Rosen and Sam Darnold struggled, and you think maybe it might have thought twice about it and said, oh, maybe it's not that important to leave right now?
Well, who's going to get the #1 pick in the NFL this year?
Cardinals. So it won't be a quarterback.
49ers are second, and the Jets are third.
Do you think, but I'm asking guys, do you think that Sam Darnold and Rosen and all that, do you think maybe he looked at their tapes and said, oh, well, maybe it's not important for me to go in the NFL so soon. Maybe I could wait a year.
He also had an opportunity to play with his brother, who's going to be a freshman this year.
That's a good point. But what I was going to say, I watch a lot of college football, big Ohio State fan. I'll say this, as far as
yes.
Yeah.
What happened?
The mime isn't working. You have to speak.
Derek just disappeared. Derek, we can't hear you if you're talking.
Yeah.
Oh, all right.
Well, what do you think? What do you think?
You had a loss of words. You're succeeding.
Why do you think he decided to forego his senior year?
Okay. Well, I mean, it's hard for me to put words into a kid's mouth, but before I lose track here, and I'll answer your question in a minute, Stephen. I did want to at least answer a question that was. Let me pull this up from the chat room. Who will back up Baker next year? And the answer is Mark Harris. He likes to back up. Boop, boop, boop. Okay. That's the answer to your question. Why he would forego his senior year, there's a number of reasons. One is maybe he feels he's not ready. Brian brought up the other good point regarding his brother. It's a big jump, and it's a risk, because if you get hurt in your senior year, your value plummets. But obviously somebody believed he wasn't ready. Yeah. And I think, like I say about the quarterback position, many are called, few are chosen. Yeah. And every year the names are called and very few are actually chosen and succeed.
And sometimes they'll go years without even quarterbacks succeeding. You'll see draft classes go, and you'll just see nothing but still the veterans that are still in there or whatever. You know, the Breezes, the Bradys, you know?
Yeah. Now, Beyonce's Mega Man is saying he's an idiot. Foregoing his senior year is the smartest thing. Anyone remember Jason White from Oklahoma? He's an idiot. Let these coaches hustle him. Again, I would tend to agree with that. Here's what I think.
I remember Jason White.
It's business. It's business. And, you're going to make mega millions of dollars being the number 1 or 2 pick in a draft. How do you, even if you're not successful, what else are you going to do in life that's going to give you that kind of an instant payday? A lot of practicality involved in this.
Can you all hear me?
Well, look at the dumbass from Florida that parlayed his backup quarterback into being on the fucking Bachelor, and then he's now on ESPN doing the college football.
Oh, Jesse Palmer?
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, look at Brady Quinn. Look at Brady Quinn.
Hey, if I can explain,
Mark Harris, there you go.
Yeah, go ahead, Derek. What do you want to explain?
So I'll give everybody in the chat room a good laugh here. So what happened, similar to your situation with the internet, my Chromebook disconnected and connected to somebody else's internet, the neighbors. And somehow I thought I was on, so I kept talking for, a while, and then I realized I was off, so I felt like the biggest idiot sitting there talking. Nobody's listening to me.
Yeah. Now you're still wobbling. Your voice is like your connection isn't really good. I don't know what kind of an internet connection you have, but it sounds like it's a little iffy from this end.
Here, hold on.
I mean, if you have a router, bring it closer, or connect directly with an Ethernet cable to that router, and that will give you a much steadier signal. I'm doing this show Wi-Fi, and I don't like doing it Wi-Fi, but it's what I have to do because I'm doing this from outside of my studio. So,
do I sound any better right now?
Anytime you can plug in Ethernet, do it. That's the.
Do I sound any better now?
Well, as far as the signal, a little bit better. Your voice quality still sucks, but other than that, you're fine. No, I'm kidding. I take cheap shots whenever I get it.
I appreciate it. An opportunity, and then you tell them I suck.
Yeah, the fact of the matter is, I thought what you said yesterday was very nice, Derek, and you know that I appreciate you being on the program. There's nothing that makes me happier than being able to chat with people who have like-minded interests, regardless of their age or their or their sexual predilection. Mark Harris,
Mr. Moohead, you know what?
Not me, buddy.
I looked at the tape, your old film. I saw the day that you tore your ACL on the chair. That was epic, brother.
Oh God! Mr. Moohead falls off his chair, which is priceless stuff, really priceless stuff.
Who are you talking about?
What had happened was every bad thing that happened to the Cleveland Browns, and I was so fed up with it because the players were like flinching and doing crazy things. And in that game, it was a kick that was blocked, and I think that the guy flinched on the line and let the guy get around him. It was some goofy thing, but it was about the fear of losing contributed to the actual losing. And I was flailing my arms and going, ah! For my panic noise. Okay. The panic noise goes,
I thought it was a
There you
move.
go, Rick.
I thought it was a move.
Yeah, no, I mean, I did it with Deshaun Kaiser too. It's like my Deshaun Kaiser impression, passing out of pressure is, and then throwing the ball. Okay, I was doing that, and the chair has casters, not anymore, but it did back then. And it hit a patch on the floor and rolled right out from under me, and down I went. And my leg folded under me. I didn't tear my ACL though. It was fortunate, but my leg folded under me. And at first, I thought I'd done something really bad. So I tried to make a humorous moment out of it, but it was that was an interesting one. That is actually up on YouTube. So if you want to see my fat ass hitting the ground,
yourself every day when I look in the
well.
mirror.
What happened to our last kicker that we traded for the drunk one we have now? And that, Zane Gonzalez never got picked up anywhere, but, a guy with a groin injury who doesn't report it probably wouldn't
Working
get
at McDonald's.
Yeah, I mean, that was the best kicker in college football, according to the awards that were given out that year. So, yeah.
He's making margaritas at Ariba.
But you saw again what a guy like Tucker means to a team. I mean, boy, to have that kind of a weapon who can accurately kick from distance, it's a glorious thing to have. And hopefully we'll get somebody who's more consistent next season and help Baker out in that situation. That'll make Baker a better quarterback because he doesn't have to put
at least we
on
wouldn't
his
have to
shoulders.
sweat every time we go out to kick a freaking field goal.
Or to take things on his shoulders and try to do more than he's capable of doing. Nathan, Happy New Year to you too. I want to do something here in honor of somebody. I believe that, New Year's, the Auld Lang Syne thing, we remember old friends and all. And I would be remiss if, in honor of New Year's Rockin' Eve, which is now Ryan Seacrest thing, the late departed Dick Clark. I'm going to have Dick Clark now do the countdown as the ball drops. You ready?
I thought you were going to make a Mariah Carey joke. The cow is down.
Okay, and that's it. That's it. That's the impression. And I can say something. What Dick Clark would say if he was alive today.
Get me out of this damn box.
That's exactly. Get me. Very good. That's outstanding, Rick. You got me good.
Great minds think alike there.
Okay, I'll see you later. My work here is finished. So
yeah, you fucked my punchline.
Everybody, round of applause for Rick.
Oh, I love it. I love it. Beyonce's Mega Man says, I think if you guys are true fans, anyone has playoff teams in this season, got to make a stupid bet. Make this super chat legit. I don't know what he's talking about. So
I think
maybe you and Dakdar can have a side communication there because none of that's making sense to me.
No, yeah, what he's saying is he wants us to do like bets with other video makers or bets like on certain games. And like if you lose, you got to do something crazy or silly or some shit like on video. Like that's what he was telling me.
I'll bet Mary Kate Cabbage that could be a better reporter than her already.
You know something, Beyonce Mega Man? I already, Hugh Jackson couldn't find the flag, the challenge flag. Mm-hmm. I actually showed a bare ass on YouTube. So don't.
Oh, yeah.
I know all about embarrassing myself on broadcasts, and I'm not really all about that anymore. We don't take dares. This is not truth or dare.
Yeah, 4 years ago, I had to wear lipstick. That was a bet. I lost to the Panthers, and I had to pay that bet. I had to wear lipstick on my Crow video.
Oh, man.
Oh, Black
Why did I
Rob
miss
is correcting me. Zane Gonzalez kicks for the Arizona Cardinals. Didn't you know that, Brian?
No, I didn't.
Wow. He's your kicker.
Now you just depressed Brian.
How did he do? How did he do over there? I'm really
the whole
now I'm
team
curious
sucks,
about.
so. Yeah,
I'm gonna look this up.
Go look at the scores and schedule and see if he actually kicked in the game.
Yeah.
Brian,
like
are you a Cardinals fan?
He had 3 of them. 2 of them were over 50. One was 50, one was 55.
This is already making me ill thinking about it. Yeah, here we go. 3 for 3 on 12:30 against the Seahawks with a long of 55. He was 1 of 2 against the Rams on the 23rd with a long of 36. And that was it.
And he kicked a 55-yarder at the end of the game to tie it.
Yeah.
He could make a 5-yard kick to save our lives.
Well, no, he was injured. He didn't tell anybody.
He kicked 2 50-yarders in that game. The last game of the year.
The kid can kick, but not with a torn groin muscle, for God's sakes, you know?
And not with Hugh Jackson fucking treating his ego like a fucking yo-yo.
Well, that has something to do with it, too. You know. Yeah. So, you know, going next on this, I suppose the Falcons have overhauled their entire coaching staff as Sarkisian is gone as their offensive coordinator. And of course, Marvin Lewis endorses Huey. And of course, nobody's going to buy that in Cincinnati. I mean,
I hope he does.
No.
We'll sweep him for the next 50
Mike
years.
Brown might. He's dumb enough.
And this is something that I just am stumbling upon. There's a source that's saying that Antonio Brown, upset with the Steelers, skipped practices before the final game. You know, so not everything is ho 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 in Pittsburgh land either.
I'm surprised Mike Tom
gonna head to Indianapolis.
About wait, one at a time.
Go ahead, kid.
Who first?
Derek.
You're the kid.
Yeah, I was gonna say I'm surprised Mike Tomlinson not getting looked as possible getting fired as head coach of the Steelers.
His 20-year contract isn't up yet.
Yeah, I mean it's
well, they don't fire coaches that often either.
No, and that's part of it, and you know. But again, Antonio Brown is a big part of their team, and one of these days, Ben's going to go down. One of these days, and
can't wait for that.
Well, the sun's rising in Cleveland, and it's setting in other places. Cincinnati, it's already set, and you know, Marvin Lewis again. If you want to hasten the demise of Marvin Lewis, you can put it all down on Andy Dalton's plate. Because Andy Dalton is no different than Kirk Cousins. And I warned everybody, especially Tony, about that. You know, 500 quarterbacks are 500 quarterbacks. They don't win big games, and they are what they are. Andy Dalton does not have a strong arm, and he's just not that good a quarterback. And neither is Kirk Cousins. It's not that they're terrible, but they're not elite, and they're not going to lead you to the promised land. That's just the way it works. Yep. So, I mean, and who in the hell is going to, you know, the quarterback from Duke, all right, who is going pro and he's a potential first-round pick. Would anybody choose a Duke quarterback, Daniel Jones, in the first round from Duke?
Well, I got an alert saying he's the second-rated quarterback in this draft, which I don't know if I would agree with that, but because the likelihood is Dwayne Haskins, if he chooses to go, be number 1. But number 2, I don't think there's a sure quarterback. If you're going to risk taking a quarterback, I don't think there's a sure quarterback. I mean, the only other one would be Herbert, that I think would be the best one, but he's staying. So it's a very risky if you're going to take a quarterback.
Yeah, your connection is really slow, Derek. Really slow, and I'm not sure what you can do about that.
What's happening?
Yeah, you're breaking up and going slow. The data is not pouring through fast enough. at Duke.
Here, I'm going to shut my Chromebook off, turn it back on, and reconnect.
Yep. The issue with Jones is this: 52 touchdowns in 36 games, but 29 interceptions. And that ratio is not good at all. And in the college game, you don't usually have guys throwing that many picks. And if he is looked at as one of the 2 top quarterbacks just because he learned under a guy named David Cutcliffe, who also coached Peyton and Eli Manning in college, again, pedigree has a lot to do with this stuff, but is no indicator. I mean, if Baker Mayfield is the real deal, which we believe he is, he was a walk-on in 2 different places, folks. You know, pedigree is, you know, Tom Brady was just another guy at Michigan. Pedigree doesn't enter into this. It is a unique skill set of being able to process. You know what the most amazing thing watching, for me, watching Baker Mayfield is now he's up at the line of scrimmage and he's directing traffic. He's audibilizing. He's changing plays. And, you know, it's like he's been doing this for 5 years. There are quarterbacks in the NFL who could never get to that point, and he's already there. It's a unique, Blaine Gabbert. It's an elite skill set, and it's very difficult to be able to project that. We do everything with Wonderlic scores. We try to numericize everything, but it isn't that simple. And you know, what can I tell you? It's a hit or miss thing, and boy, I'm so glad we hit finally.
You can't measure heart.
And you know, Terry Pluto has written an article saying plenty of interesting candidates, you know, and
speaking of measurement, Terry Pluto.
Yeah, Brian Flores and Matt Eberflus and Mike Munchak. Oh God, don't even say that name to me. Adam Gase is another one. McCarthy, of course. There are going to be a lot of names that come up, but Dorsey is a good professional player. He's not going to show the cards in his hand. And we just are going to have to believe that the guy who drafted Baker and Denzel and Chubb and Corbett is the guy who's going to make that good call. We just have to believe that. And leave it alone at that. And I'm not going to guess on who they're going to hire.
My internet's over again.
Say what? Yeah, I think your connection.
My internet's over again.
Yeah, I see my buddy Beyonce.
Go ahead, Rick.
Oh, sorry.
Oh, no, I didn't say anything.
Oh,
his voice was still double dribbling.
No,
yeah.
What I was going to say was I see Beyonce Mega Man 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 loves to troll saying Baker Mayfield's nothing more than what? Teddy Bridgewater? I don't think so.
Isn't even
He's smoking crack.
Yeah, it isn't even as good as a healthy Teddy Bridgewater. Which he can't even spell Teddy Bridgewater. He spelled it Terry Bridgewater.
He's a delusional Steelers fan.
Yeah, what I'm doing is a speed test on my end. Because,
you are kind of coming a little.
Go fuck yourself. You fucking whiny little bitch. Just go fucking fuck yourself. Okay? Aaron Rodgers is a big fucking antichrist pile of fucking shit. Get the fuck out.
Tell us how you really feel.
Yeah, try not to hold
just
back.
being honest. So am I. Go fuck yourself. Terry Bridgewater was
Can we block this
and
guy?
then he was fucking done.
wow.
We're going to have to go back to the tape for this, won't we?
Yeah, I think what's happening is I do think that the amount of people on the panel for this particular, I'm utilizing a 2G connection. And remember the other day when I lost the signal completely, it was on a 5G. Yeah, a 5G connection has a limited range though, and I'm going through walls. And I'm going to have to figure out a better way of going about it because I'm getting, I did my speed test, and basically we're looking at 71 over 22. And normally before the program ran, I ran the same test and it was like 200 on the download. So I think it definitely taxes download when we have multiple people on the panel. And the fact that it's a Wi-Fi connection, I get the impression that maybe it's kind of a little in and out, that it's not a solid 71. It kind of varies. And that's probably what's happening. And I may have to figure out a methodology here to be able to do the program, maybe in a spot which is a little hotter for the 5G. I can try switching over to the 5G, but God only knows. I'm looking at it right now, and I don't even know. You see, it's only 2 out of 3 bars on the 5G, whereas I'm a 3 out of 3 on the 2G. So right now, it's just where I'm broadcasting from out of this bedroom and the location of things.
Not me.
Oh, it might be you. I would be 100% sure, but no, I think it's more likely that it's the emanating source, me, from the for this podcast. And no, I cannot Ethernet wire my laptop where I am because of we changed to cable, and the only place they could put this thing was, we're stuck with Wi-Fi. I wish I could, but I would have to have some
fucking 1,000,000-foot cord. And
yeah, I'm not going there, and I don't want to rip up the the attic in the house and have to drill holes through ceilings and things of that nature.
For a measly YouTube show.
The Beyonce Mega Man's about to make me jump out the freaking window.
Jesus.
Yeah. Why? What's he saying?
Oh, he's trolling.
Baker Mayfield is not Cam Newton or Russell Wilson. He's in the realm of Jameis Winston.
He's got an IQ. No.
Look, dude, I mean, you're comparing a guy who just set the rookie record for NFL touchdown passes thrown.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're comparing him to Jameis, I'm a thief, Winston. You want to be honest. The honesty is that your opinion of this player is tainted. I mean, there is no logic behind what you're saying.
He's a delusional Steelers fan.
Is he a Steeler fan? I mean, then I'll tell you what. I'll send you a bag of.
He's sitting here sucking off the Steelers.
Oh, well, if that's the case, the simple. And I love having people here, and you know that. But I can send you a bag of peanuts if you want to start picking your nose with them. That's Steeler fans. It's all good.
In a bathroom with Ben Roethlisberger, and you can get fucked in the ass like he does to women.
So, what fan are you?
My best friend's a Steelers fan, but you can't act like a retard.
Oh, he's a
Seahawks and a Colts fan. Girl.
Oh, that's total BS. That is total BS.
So he's a Seahawks and a Colts fan?
Yeah. Who knows? He has a split personality. I don't know.
I don't know. You know on YouTube how we have
luck with a surgically fucking repaired 802 times shoulder is better than Baker Mayfield, who's perfectly fucking healthy. I don't fucking think so, ass wipe.
And not only that, Cam Newton. Don't you even use Cam Newton as an example? Hey, Phillips Lawson, Happy New Year to you as well. When's the last time the season ended? We knew who the quarterback would be next year. Woo-hoo!
Okay, and for on a lighter note,
wait! Somebody's a Baltimore fan jumped in and said, "I was at the Ravens game yesterday. It was a great game to attend. I think we'll have a lot of great battles with the Browns in the future." And you know something? That's nice because I look forward to it too. It's nothing better than having good rivalry football, and good luck to your team in Baltimore. I hope they do well in the playoffs. No hard feelings at all. Now the Cam Newton thing is going to really make
Beyonce's Mega Man. You might as well just shut up because nobody thinks you're smart. You're just plain retarded.
You know something? Beyonce Mega Man. Look, ask Ron Rivera where Cam Newton got him. Okay, ask him where it got him. Cam Newton is a huge disappointment. Huge disappointment. He has it, all this ripping this off and there's Superman underneath. Well, fucking kryptonite. The guy ain't nothing. And he never led that team nowhere. I'm sorry. Look at the record, and you're going on old information. At one time, he really was the bee's knees, but Cam Newton is no longer even one of the top quarterbacks in the NFL. All right. The Baltimore fan is saying, me and my dad and brother have been going to games since '96 as season ticket holders. The Browns coaching opening is as good as it gets. Hope they make the right hire. And I have no real problem. That you got a football team, you lost a football team. We all felt the pain when you had your owner in the middle of the night take the moving vans out and move to Indianapolis. And we had Art Modell do his thing to Cleveland. And, the truth of the matter is it lights a fire for a rivalry for Cleveland fans because we lost our team. But, we're found now, and, we can, we can put that aside because the decisions that were made went so far beyond Art Modell. By the time we came back as a team, there are so many bad decisions that our front offices have made that it falls on our plate. It's not on the plate, not on the plate of people in Baltimore. You wanted a football team, you got a football team. So I hope you do well. I'm going to give everyone a chance in the chat room to say their last thing before we get out of here, and you move on to your festivities for New Year's. Why don't we start with Steven?
Well, first, I just want to give a shout out to Andrew Luck. Even though he's in my division, I hate him, and we're playing him this week. Argumentatively believe he's win comeback player of the year award this year. And for a guy who's been getting injured the last 3 years, I'll give credit where credit is due. He had a phenomenal season this year.
That's good. Tony the Calf has jumped in. Yeah. Tony, what do you want to say? Nice to see you. And what is it you want to say as we head into New Year's?
I just want to say Happy New Year, everybody. I want to end on a lighter note by saying Greg Joseph just tweeted he can't wait to be part of the Dog Pound next year.
You mean Greg, watching the games?
Yeah, he'll be sitting in the stands, buddy. You
got that right. Hey, and Tony, I'm sorry about the Vikes, but I think you understand
happens.
The Kirk Cousins thing. I just think what we've learned in Cleveland is it takes something special to bring an organization to that next level. And Baker Mayfield is an exceptional example of somebody who has raised the level of the organization. We'll see now if we can surround him with better players to raise ourselves up to the next level. But it's tough. Kirk Cousins has a history of being a 500 quarterback, and there he sits.
You see, I don't think Cousins is at all to blame. He threw for 4,000 yards, put up a pile of TDs. I just really think we need to fire our goddamn GM. And Zimmer needs to be on the hot seat because they've been neglecting the offensive line for fucking 10 years.
Mm-hmm.
And if a quarterback can't make plays, if fucking all of a sudden he's got 7 linemen staring him in the face as soon as he fucking grabs the ball. Cousins was on his ass. He was pressured more times. The Vikings allowed more QB pressures this season than any other team by a 3-2 margin. Like, it wasn't even fucking close. So I don't
can't argue.
I think we overpaid for him, yes, but Kirk Cousins can be my quarterback any day of the week. Give him an offensive line, and I think we'll be okay.
Everybody overpays for a quarterback. Let's be honest. I mean, there are a lot of people who overpaid for quarterbacks worse than Kirk Cousins. That's for sure. Right. Rick, what do you have to say before we get out of here?
I just want to wish everyone a happy New Year. This is going to be one of the few times that I'm actually looking forward to the Browns off season because it seems like something positive is going to be happening. And finally, sorry about stepping on your Dick Clark joke.
Oh no, that's great. I mean, if you see something coming, squat it out of the air, man.
Well, thank God the word joke didn't buffer out there, because if you would have listened to the show and would have heard, thank you for sorry about stepping on your dick, that would have been a completely different fucking conversation.
Yeah, a completely different thing altogether. Although in my case, it's easy to do because, it's easy to trip over. Next, Derek, what do you have to say before we get out of here?
All right. I want to say Happy New Year to everybody. Thank you, Mr. Moohead, for. I know I said my piece yesterday, but thanks for giving me the opportunity. Hope to have a great 2019. Thank God that I found your channel. I stumbled upon it. So I'm thankful for all you guys, on the panel and everybody in the chat room. Apologize I got heated there, but as far as the Browns, keep your expectations high. This is a new, no pun intended, but this is a new year, and this is going to be a new team, and we're going to be much better, and we need to keep our expectations high because there's huge things to come. So everybody stay happy and be thankful that things are coming. Good changes are coming.
Brian?
Well, we ended with the season that I thought we would have, record-wise, that I thought we would have. We solidified our quarterback position. We've got a real chance to make Cleveland sports fun again.
Great again.
So, and Cleveland itself, great again. So we can actually have a little pride in our roots.
Yeah, I think it's important. And Brittany, would you like to wish everybody a Happy New Year?
Yeah, I would like her to say something.
Yeah, say just
of course you would,
Happy
Steven.
New Year. You can do that.
But talking to this animal.
Happy New Year, everyone.
Happy New Year to you too, Brittany.
Yeah,
thank you for joining us.
And now, Rick, your comments.
Rewind. Mr. Moohead, I also want to say thank you as well for giving us an opportunity to be guest on your channel and stuff, because you used to do it by yourself back in the day, and for you to allow us on, I know we sometimes take advantage of that, but in all reality, I really appreciate it. Rather, the show may be good sometimes, the show may be a little bland. I enjoy every moment of it, and it's all because
there's
I want to thank you for that.
There's no words to explain how grateful, and I speak for everybody, but there's no words to explain how grateful I am able to do this. Like I said, this means the world to me. You can have your opinion, make fun of me. I don't care.
No, I feel the same way.
This is, we love you, and I don't no homo, but we love you, and we thank you for everything you do for us.
All my viewers, all my panelists, it's all family. It's all one big family, and that's what being a pasture head means. And I want to share one private moment with Tony.
Now that we're done sucking you off, what do you have to say, Mr.
Yeah. Tony, this is for you, and I want you to respond in kind, okay? That's been going on for a long time. We would fool one another. We would go on the air and just fish hook one another.
Okay, somebody's dragging.
I remember when
I'd make comments that I'd post that, oh shit, the Browns have traded Josh Gordon for a 4th round pick, and Moo would scramble the Twitter, and all of a sudden I'd be like,
go ahead,
Tony.
What would you do? What would you do, Tony? Go ahead, do it.
Reel it in.
And I'm like,
you took that bait.
all right,
Tony,
guys.
you having a show tonight?
Say what?
I was asking Tony if they're doing a show tonight, because usually
no, I'm not doing a hangout. I'm going out and having a party and getting drunk.
Good for you.
I'll be at the
Hey,
house.
everybody, thanks a lot for jumping in and joining me today. Have a happy new year. Have a good celebration. Back again on Friday for the next installment of Moohead Radio. Until then,
Happy New Year.
The first show of 2019.
Yes. Happy New Year to Steven's dad.
Awesome. We'll get him that tell your dad we're going to get him that magic 8 ball.
Good night. Bye.
Jesus
Bye.
Christ.
Bye.